You, get up. Yeah, you.
All right, lawyer.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. And guess what? I am behind the controls of everything. I feel like a teenager that got keys to the car for the first time. Frank had to leave early because he's going on vacation. I said, well, it's Tuesday night. What are we going to do, Frank? Are we going to cancel your vacation? Or are you going to teach me how to work this crazy thing? And he said, Scott, this is so simple. Even you can do it on the computer. And he even let me use the headphones so I can occasionally check and make sure the sound and everything is coming through okay. So I've got that going for me. So I think we did it good. I did the intro. I turned it live. We did our lawyer intro and even a little bumper music. I think we're off to a great start tonight. So let's get to it. I kind of like the headphones. You know, originally, I really like the headphones because you can really hear what goes on, particularly if there's someone else talking and you pick up all of the noise. And sometimes when you don't have the headphones on, I know some people are like, oh, I don't like the headphones. But we also have a surprise here. What kind of surprise could it be, Scott? It's Tuesday Night Live. We have the lovely Miss Kristen in the house. Now, she has refused to enter into the camera range here. And if we had all the super technology, I could zoom in and out and do all that stuff. But the lovely Miss Kristen is here. Perhaps she will participate with a push of a button over here on this fancy board. Look, her microphone is on. Can you go ahead and say hi to everybody, the lovely Miss Kristen?
No, hello, everyone. Winnie's here too.
Oh, and yes, that's right. Miss Winnie the Bulldog is here as well. So we got the lovely Miss Kristen, Miss Winnie the Bulldog. Yeah, so there you go. All kinds of surprises. Frank leaves the house for one night and the whole place goes to heck. What can you say? But that's okay. We're going to do everything we can, and we're going to do our Patreon show this evening as well. All right. So let's get to it. Lots of things to talk about here as I sit behind the Crime Talk Network microphone here. Like I said, I'm controlling everything. I've got a computer here. I got a computer over here. I got a camera there. I've got a soundboard, mixer board here like you wouldn't believe. Frank has like 8 computer screens on his desk, and I've got 2. Okay, so we're going to do it. All right. So a couple things I would like to talk about this evening. All right. There's a lot to talk about, but the first thing I want to talk about is this young thug trial. All right. This thing started back in, I think, November of 2023, something like that, for jury selection. Jury selection took 10 months. Are you kidding me? Who could do a 10-month jury selection process? Unbelievable, right? But then I started thinking, I see it like, Frank, why are we not having the young thug trial on today? It's tough to keep up with. We don't know when we're going to have it because the judge has this weird schedule. He goes like days or weeks without anything going on. And he just does like a couple hours here and there. Unbelievable. Kind of like the Karen Reed case that we're going to talk about in a minute as well. But it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me how you would. I mean, one of the goals obviously is to complete a trial, do justice, all that stuff. I get it. But the other thing that you're supposed to do is in the inconvenience to the jurors should be minimal. If you have a year-long trial, my God, you better be going full tilt, not wasting the time of anybody. It just makes no sense. So young thug on trial. He's a rapper. He's charged with racketeering stuff, basically saying that his illegal gang activity was and his legal activity were one and the same. And the trial is expected to go on forever. Anyway, So apparently there was a witness for the government testifying who doesn't want to testify, and he was very evasive. Apparently, sometime Friday afternoon, the witness, along with the prosecutor, met privately in chambers with the judge. Okay, that seems a little odd to me. And that seemed odd to everyone. Of the six co-defendants that are also on trial with Young Thug, only one attorney, the attorney for Young Thug, the Steele guy, said, "Hey, this is not cool. And Judge, I heard about this meeting, and I'd like to know what the conversation was about." Because generally, I can't think of any particular moment, but there's no appropriate time for an ex parte communication. You're in the middle of a trial talking to a witness in chambers, and then the judge tried to flip it on the attorney and say, "How did you find out about this meeting? How do you know what was said in this meeting in chambers? How dare you? The meetings in chambers are sacrosanct." That was his word. They're sacred, right? The judge totally flipped it. The judge, who was supposedly engaging in ex parte communications and doing what he shouldn't be doing, flips it on the attorney who's asking what he's doing is his job, saying, "Hey, Judge, I need to know what took place in that hearing, and why weren't any of the defense attorneys in that room like they should have been? You don't conduct hearings ex parte." So the judge then says, "If you don't tell me how you found out, I want to know the source of the information of how you found out that this conversation took place, I'm going to hold you in contempt." And the defense attorney, Mr. Steele for Young Thug, was like, "I'm not telling you. I shouldn't even have had to raise this issue. This is something that the judge should have brought to the attention and put it on the record." Hey, I don't know how things get done in Georgia. Not even going to try to say it, but wherever I've practiced, I have never seen anything like that. And the attorney, Dan Steele, did the correct thing. Now, he was released. The judge wanted to continue the trial without the lead defendant's lead attorney. And the prosecutor was like, "Whoa, Judge, we can't do that. You're denying him his Sixth Amendment right to counsel. We can't go forward without the attorney there." So the attorney ultimately comes back, but he then gets to go spend the next 10 weeks in custody for his contempt, for asking what was the ex parte communication between the judge, the prosecutor, and the witness who had already been sworn as a witness, right? Nobody's supposed to discuss one's testimony with anybody until they're done testifying. So, mentioned this in the show today. I don't know how you all do thing in Georgia, but that just seems completely wrong to me. Now, thank goodness the criminal defense bar down there has a kind of quick reaction team of attorneys to come in, and they're going to blow this Young Thug case up. Trying to get the attorney, Mr. Steele, have the contempt taken away. But now you've got a judge. He is the one that should be explaining. Why would he be in his chambers talking about the case, where the judge is asking about the case? And that was where the judge became so upset, when the attorney kind of knew what had taken place, what the questions were being asked. And for the judge not to believe, or believe that he should not have had to report that, or should not have had to come out on the record, right? I've seen judges that have come and said, and just like attorneys do, if you're in this is how you're not supposed to have ex parte communications with anybody, right? jurors are given admonitions. Hey, these attorneys are very nice people, but they can't talk with you. They can't come up to you. They can't do anything related to this case about you, can't talk with you because there could be an appearance of impropriety. Even though nothing could be done wrong, everyone's going to have to bring it to the court's attention. And any attorney that's ever been in a courthouse doing a trial, you see a juror getting on the elevator, you're like, I'll just get the next one. You don't even look at him. You literally turn your head down and walk away. You just don't do it. But every now and then, I had a case, I don't know, a couple of years ago, I'm getting on the elevator, and before the doors close, somebody jumps on, and guess who? It is a juror. And he's like, oh, hey, hi, good morning. Like, hi, good morning. I can't talk with you, right? And so you get upstairs, and the first thing you do is you see the prosecutor and say, hey, Mr. Prosecutor, I'm reporting this, and I need to, let's tell the judge that I was there and I didn't say anything. Most of the time, judge will say, all right, thank you. Nothing inappropriate whatsoever. Or sometimes they say, hey, let's just talk to the juror. Understand, you see these attorneys, you can't talk to them. They're not being mean. Just please don't do it. It's simple rule. And judges know better than that. And judges should let everybody know as well that they're not going to be meeting in chambers with anybody. And if they were to do that, it should be put on the record. There should be a transcript made. Like, was there a court reporter made? Now, one of the attorneys for the other co-defendant said, hey, judge, can we get a copy of that transcript? Right? Because, if there was nothing inappropriate going on, we could, we probably had the court reporter there, and the, whole situation would be no big deal, right, judge? Because that's what would be taking place. But I think the judge, how defensive he came, there was something hinky going on there, ladies and gentlemen, something hinky. And I'm not sure why maybe the prosecutor knew it wasn't right and told the defense counsel and said, hey, man, I'll take it to my grave. Could have been the prosecutor, could have been a clerk or something. Maybe the witness told them about it, right? Who knows exactly what it was, because the defense counsel is not revealing his source. But the reality of it is it's not right. So something to think about. We'll see if we can't get the young thug trial back up, because that clearly is going to get interesting when you got a judge holding the lead counsel in contempt in the middle of the proceedings. Weird. Usually wait till the end of the proceeding to hold somebody in contempt. Very, very odd. Very, very odd. It is. We'll have to wait and see. All right. The next thing I want to talk about tonight, possibly the thing that you all have been waiting for, the Karen Read trial. Okay. We mentioned Karen Read. We've been bringing you the Karen Read trial. Remember, just to give a little perspective, this case was supposed to go 4 weeks. We're now on week 7. Okay. And there was no trial today because, like other places, what can I tell you? The judge just doesn't like to do court on a regular basis. And I'm not sure how these jurors are supposed to be coming back and forth to and fro from their job to the courthouse on such a sporadic thing. I mean, look at the Hunter Biden trial, right? That was a recipe for a circus. But you had a strong judge, and their duty as a judge, not to do justice, do their judge thing, is to inconvenience the jurors for the least amount of time as possible, because everybody in that courthouse should appreciate the people doing their public service, but also understanding that it is a huge inconvenience for everybody. And so let's try to minimize the inconvenience to the jurors doing their civic duty as little as possible. That case started on a Monday. It went Monday through Friday. They seated a jury in one day. That's pretty normal, particularly on a case like that. And they finished on Monday, right? And today's they literally went from defense begins their case in chief. The defense rests. All right, let's go straight into instructions. That's the way it is in most places wherever I have practice, unless you end at the end of the day. They did closing arguments on Monday. The jury got it for about an hour and a half, and they came back today and deliberated in that case. And boom, 3 hours of deliberation, case done. That's the way a case is normally tried in just about any competent jurisdiction. So for these trials, I mean, think about it, ladies and gentlemen. I think the Oklahoma City bombing case, the big one we had in Denver years and years ago, remember when the guy blew up the Oklahoma City bomb building? That was like 6 weeks. And there were hundreds of people that they had to prove that were, in fact, deceased. But yet we can't do a one-car, single-person alleged hit and run in less than 7 weeks of trial, like the Karen Reed case? Are you kidding me? This judge has no respect for any of the parties in this particular case, no respect for the jurors in any way, probably about as much respect as the Lieutenant Proctor, Michael Proctor, had for the defendant, Karen Reed. Some of these texts using words to describe Karen Reed as wacko, other inappropriate names that one cannot use on a family program like CrimeTalk, but let's just say it's derogatory and it rhymes with punt, right? Not good. Not good. And this is the lead investigator who's saying, oh, I have no bias whatsoever. I'm not looking out for my police buddy friends at all. Oh, and by the way, he's under investigation for potential violations of department policy in connection with the Reed case. Maybe you think the prosecution would realize, wow, death is, sometimes things are bad. It's bad when people die. But when you have police officers compromising a case, well, that's kind of bad news. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just got to say, wow, we don't have a good case. We think we're going to lose. They can blame it on the lead investigator in the case and say, sorry, have to go have that difficult conversation with the family. Yeah, the cops screwed the case up. Now, Mr. Proctor, Lieutenant Proctor of the state police there, explained away or tried to explain away his remarks. And he said, oh, they were certainly unprofessional and regrettable. I mean, God, is this guy some sort of politician or something? Unprofessional and regrettable. And he said he shouldn't have made those exchanges. But those were exchanges with friends and state police colleagues as well as supervisors. Like I said, some of the derogatory remarks, completely inappropriate, discussing her medical condition, and had gone through her phone looking for nude photos. And then this guy gets up there with his typical freaking cop shaved bald head, probably shaved it special just for this case. I mean, the only thing they could have probably given him was some Oakley freaking glasses to make it a little more stereotypical. Calling Central Casting. I need a douchebag cop looking dude. Send him in with the bald head, shaved bald head. We got it. Here we go. Now, some people were saying that the jurors apparently were somewhat shocked by the officer's conduct. What can you say? And apparently people, obviously we can, see Mr. Proctor's, but he obviously looked super embarrassed. But you know what, I guess what Mr. Proctor will not be doing in the future, assuming he is still a police officer when all is said and done, because let's face it, he's not going to probably get in trouble. He'll get a couple of days paid leave, which is a vacation. at the most. And, but at least he won't probably keep and save those text messages from that string again. He'll probably do it in person. And not put it in a digital context, to say the least. So what can you say about the Karen Reed case? Now, let me get back here to the comments, because I think Karen Reed case is one that a lot of people want to talk about. Let me know what you think. Someone else said, hey, the Sarah Boone trial is taking forever as well. And that's the one with the lady who put the boyfriend in the suitcase down in Florida. We're just playing games.
Eighth attorney filed to withdraw from case.
Oh, where did we learn this information? Oh, don't mention that name on. You're on mic. Your mic is like not. It picks up everything. I can hear everything. I gotta wear the headphones. I'm telling you. When it's just Frank and I'm telling you, but you don't realize how powerful these microphones are, because it's I don't know what to tell you. I don't even know how to do it.
Okay.
Oh, I hit the button and nothing happened. So I'm not really sure. I hope I still have sound. I got all these little buttons over here and I'm not sure what to do with them. Let me see if I can turn that down. See if I say something into it. I think I turned it down. Okay, do you want me? You can't hear yourself?
No.
Okay. All right. So apparently the attorney for Young Thug has filed a motion to withdraw. Let's take a look at that. That's huge. Because if the attorney has to withdraw, guess what? They have to start all over. That is bad news for Young Thug, who's been in trial. I'm telling you, this judge, he's this is on the judge. This is on the judge. Seriously. Let's take a quick look at it here. Breaking. A lawyer representing a defendant in the Young Slime Life gang trial filed a motion to withdraw his counsel, according to financial issues resulting from the case itself. It's not that attorney. It's another attorney. A contractor with the public defender's office. Her motion to withdraw comes after she said she has already lost her physical office due to a loss of livelihood stemming from her role in the case. Prior to her motion to withdraw as counsel in the RICO trial, she was representing Redalius Ryan Jr., a role she filled since December of 2022. Ryan is one of 5 defendants in the case, which include blah, 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 Young Thug people. The motion to withdraw says the trial will last into 2025. This says that she was told that they'll find another attorney to substitute for the trial, though Ryan is opposed to a substitution of counsel and will not waive his right to counsel, whom has already been appointed. Which he's basically saying, no, I like this attorney. You can't kick her off. She's basically saying it's unforeseen hardship the counsel has encountered because of the length and commitment of the trial. I mean, this judge that's running the Young Thug trial, okay, we may have to create a wall of shame for terrible judges. And the list seems to be growing. Lots of times people think judges are supposedly the smart ones, right? The joke in law school was, if you're an A student, you're going to become a judge. If you were the B student, you're going to, what's the word I'm looking for? You were supposed to, work at a big law firm, and the C students were all going to, become rich. Not so much. but it doesn't always weigh out there. But oftentimes, there are some smart judges. Don't get me wrong, but there are some really dumb ones. And when you have a system whereby it is either through political appointments or elections, you may not be getting the smartest people up there, because, well, I mean, that's just the way it is. Political people don't always do it. I mean, we want to find judges that truly love the law. This is their passion. All those things that you think what you'd want in a good judge, but sometimes they're not that smart. And I assure you, I have not been impressed by this particular judge in the Young Thug trial to date. And maybe it's just me, but the judge wears 2 earrings in his ears. I'm just not a big jewelry guy, particularly for men wearing jewelry in their ears. Just not, I don't know. I don't, what can I say? Like, are we going out clubbing or something? Or are we going to, there's be some decorum in the courtroom. But that's oftentimes not what happens. It's just the way it is. I don't know. I don't like it. I think we need decorum, return to the courtroom. I think we need to have attorneys wearing suits again in court, not wearing comfortable shoes. I know they're the fashion these days. I've got a pair of the comfortable, sneaker type things that people wear with their suits. Wouldn't wear with a suit. Not this guy. Simply not going to do it. What can you do? What can you do? So it's, I don't know. What can you do? Anyway, the judge in the Young Thug case needs to go away. They need to declare a mistrial, start again, make sure they get all the attorneys they need, and they say, you know what? We're going to block out 8 weeks for this trial, and we're going to get it done. Prosecutor, you have all your witnesses lined up, and when you get done, defense, if you have witnesses, they better get lined up. Take a couple months, get all your dates worked out, make sure all your experts can show up. If you don't have them, but we're going to meet in 2 weeks, or who runs that? What nonsense. Nonsense. But speaking of Sarah Boone, she just had a hearing the other day, on June 7th, where she wanted to get rid of the attorney, and now the 8th attorney is filing a motion to withdraw from the case. Irreconcilable differences, but not limited to ethical considerations. Okay, here is what the judge needs to do in the Sarah Boone case. Miss Boone, we've got a you problem, not an everybody else problem. You can't get along with anybody else, and guess what? We're not going to tolerate it. We're not going to put up with it. And guess what? You're going to represent yourself. And we're going to set a trial date. We're going to set a trial date now. And if it gets reversed, so be it. But you know what? At a certain point, you lose your right to counsel by playing games. Okay? So Sarah Boone, who wants to get rid of her 8th attorney, bye-bye. See ya. Do it yourself. If it's so damn easy to be the lawyer, go do it yourself. Bottom line, go do it yourself. All right? I don't get it. She's the one that zipped her boyfriend buddy up into a suitcase, ladies and gentlemen. And then she confessed to it, saying we were just playing games. It's not going to take a long trial. It's going to take a week in any competent jurisdiction. I'm telling you, a long trial used to be 5 to 7 days for a homicide. Most trials are much faster. What has taken longer? Because everything is audio or video recorded these days. But a case like Boone's, where I practice law, that would be a 5-day trial. A day for selecting the jury. Prosecution calls their witnesses. They call the cops to show up. What'd you find? Oh, we found the guy in the suitcase. He's dead, right? They go through their process. Do you have any suspects? Yeah, we spoke to Miss Boone. What'd she say? Oh, she said, we're just playing games, silly games. Ha 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 ha, silly games, right? You bring in the coroner to say how the person died. You bring in the lead detective. You bring in the crime scene people. You show a couple of photographs. Boom, pretty much that's it. Tell me how that doesn't take more than 2 days for the prosecution to present their case in chief. The defense probably wouldn't call any witnesses. Boom, we're done. After deliberations, 5 days. Give yourself a little buffer window. So I'm not sure what the heck is going on. Miss Sarah Boone, bye-bye. You don't get any more attorneys. Go away. Go away. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't speak for everywhere. I've only been doing this for 29 years now, but things are getting a little weird. It really is in the court system these days on how long it takes. It's just, I mean, I get it. We're not talking a death penalty case. Okay, fine. Death penalty case. It's going to take a couple of years to, get the case through. You got to do the mitigation. I get that. All this other stuff, most speedy trial, from the time you say not guilty, 6 to 9 months in various jurisdictions to get your trial. Hell, the federal system, you're 70 days speedy trial. Now you can toll that. You can ask for continuances, but you have to articulate and extend that. You can't just do it. Someone has a question here. Jane has a question about on non-speaking objections. Well, in all honesty, there shouldn't be speaking objections in any courtroom. Okay, those are for the bench. Let me see. Jane, what are your thoughts on Judge Bev and no speaking objections and the way she abruptly cuts off witnesses? Okay, let me give you an example of the way it's supposed to be. Attorney A asks a question. Attorney B objects. A non-speaking objection is objection, hearsay. The response from the other party should be the exception under the hearsay rule. Business record, present sense impression, something along those lines. That's it. Not, well, Judge, it's not being offered for the truth of the matter asserted. It's being offered for the impact on the listener, and therefore it's non-hearsay because it's showing what's... That's a speaking objection. It is simply objection, the stated generally, or 404, 401, 403, 404B. That's it. You state it. Then, everything, unless the question is, what did you see? What did you hear generally? Not what was said. What did you hear? Oh, I heard an argument. Something along those lines. It's hearsay. Remember, hearsay is an out-of-court statement by another being offered for the truth of the matter asserted. So you got to bring the person who's going to say the statement into court to testify to it and be subject to cross-examination. So there should be no speaking objections. And if you need to make something longer than the exception to the objection, you need to ask to approach. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, no, Jane, I've seen her, the judge, where she doesn't even ask for a reason. And sometimes you can say objection, hearsay, and the judge will just rule overruled. But they should at least give them a chance to do that. And also, you need to, what's the word I'm looking for? You got to give everybody a fair chance and go talk at the bar if you need to do that. Somebody says also that courtroom is so tiny. Yeah. Mark, hey, most courtrooms aren't that big, particularly if it's real. I mean, if it's small, if it's an older one, they may be smaller, right? Because they didn't have as many people. I think that courtroom looks a little older, but now they build all these courthouses with these cookie cutter little courtrooms. I mean, it looks like, Class C office space or something. It is, they're horrific. We used to have here in Denver, the city and county of Denver building. And it looks like a state house, but a little smaller. And all the courtrooms were in there, and they were big, grand courtrooms. And then, of course, they ran out of space. And then not everybody, the judges got big, grand courtrooms, but they got smaller ones. And it's usually depending on if you're municipal court, county court, or district court. The district court got the better courtrooms. Go into a courtroom in U.S. Federal District Court. Those are grand courtrooms. Once again, Denver, what do? Instead of having a beautiful courthouse with some character, some architecture, we build another glass monstrosity with cookie cutter courtrooms in the federal court. I don't know why they do it. I mean, I think the reason why there is not a sense of respect and solemnity that comes with the court is that there's nothing grand or special about it. Nothing about courtrooms. You got judges that don't even wear ties anymore. They just put on their little black robes and come out with literally like a t-shirt around under their stuff. Like, are you kidding me? How do you expect the rest of the world when the courts people don't even have respect for it? You see judges walking around in casual attire. Well, if you don't get dressed up for court, why would you expect anyone else to? Yeah, we'll just have everybody else show up looking like they changed the oil on their car before they came there. Right? I mean, seriously, ladies and gentlemen, that is what it has become. All right. So back to Karen Reed. All right. Yes, small courtroom, itty bitty courtroom. Most courtrooms are small. They really are. Some courtrooms you go into, I mean, look at the case, look at the courtroom in the Brian Koberger case, right? Little bench, little area for the witness to sit in, little tables, I bet you the CrimeTalk studio table desk here is larger than the counsel table in the Brian Koberger courtroom there in Moscow, Idaho. And it's one of those, the building's probably been built in the last 20 years. And they probably got a really cool old courthouse somewhere else. But they're like, no, we're going to build a new courthouse. And it's going to be great. And it's going to look like, a metal shed building. They put in a couple of skylights. It's not going to be good. Katie has a question. In Portland, the deputy has to remind people to take their baseball caps off before going into the courtroom. I know. People just don't care anymore. Okay. All right. The judge apparently did kick somebody out for chewing gum in the audience. I guess they got that going for him, I guess. Yeah. What can you say? Okay. Jail man, Judge Bev knew the lawyers would push until it devolved into speaking objections. I've yet to hear anyone give the reason for the objection. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're mind readers. Maybe the court just said, well, I don't care. Like I said, I've heard this before from Supreme Court people, even sit on appellate court. Hey, we're not the smartest necessarily. We're not the ones that make sure it's all right. We're just the last ones to get to decide. And in that particular courtroom, that judge is the one that gets to decide. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some very, very good judges out there, but there are some really, really, really bad ones as well. Just saying that's the case. Let's see here. Scott, you sound like Judge Fred Gwynn. Herman Munster from My Cousin Vinny. Well, Jim, I don't know if that's a good thing. I am getting a little bit, my voice has been a little hoarse lately. Kind of got this little thing going on, but I'm feeling better. We'll just have to wait and see. All right, Karen retrial. Okay, this is the one. This is kind of a throwback. Who here? Let's see by a show of hands. Pamela Smart. Does that name ring a bell? Does anybody remember that? She's in New Hampshire, the great state of New Hampshire, serving a life without parole sentence. All right. Now, what did Pamela Smart do? Well, you hear about all these cases all the time with females having romantic interludes with students younger than themselves. Well, that's what she did. Way back in the 90s, 1990 to be in fact, she was plotting with her teenage student / boyfriend to kill her husband. And they did. So the then 22-year-old high school media coordinator, Miss Pamela Smart, having her affair with her 15-year-old boyfriend, boy toy, who later fatally shot her husband, Gregory Smart. They're in New Hampshire. Now, the teenager was freed from prison after 25 years in prison. But Pamela, doing what good manipulators do, completely denied all knowledge of the plot whatsoever. But needless to say, a jury did not believe her, and she was convicted of being an accomplice to first-degree murder, as well as a sundry of other crimes, and ultimately sentenced to life without parole. All right. Now, Miss Smart has now been incarcerated for 34 years. All right. She is 56. And what do all people do when they've been in prison for a while or they're getting older? They start to realize their mortality. She wants to go home. Well, you can't go home unless you have your life without parole sentence changed. So what can you do? You can't do a motion for reconsideration. Nope, you have to get clemency. And how do you get clemency? Well, you got to go usually to some sort of clemency board or the governor, and they decide they're going to give you clemency, reduce your sentence. Now, she has basically denied any knowledge of this and said, I did nothing. I don't know why I'm here in prison. I am wrongfully accused. But now, acceptance of responsibility is the first step to rehabilitation, right? That's what they say. So Ms. Smart has now stated that she is going to have an honest conversation. She's had that with herself, apparently, and she'd like to have one with the New Hampshire's 5-member executive council, which approves the state contracts and appoints to the courts and its agencies by Governor Chris Sununu. Now, remember, Ms. Smart has exhausted all of her appellate options up to this point, and so now she has to go through the council for a sentence change, a clemency board. Now, the council rejected her last request. It was her third back in 2022, and she appealed to the state Supreme Court, and they dismissed her opinion and said, "What? Like you're entitled to clemency? No, you are not. No, you're not." So, like I said, what are you supposed to do at that point? Well, you have to start talking the talk, walking the walk. And so Miss Smart, like I said, she was one of the first famous little sexcapades, sex triangle that ended ugly. And like I said, she wants to go home. So now, like I said, she is trying to figure out what she can do. So clemency packages, right? It's all about mitigation. And apparently she's actually in the Westchester County Jail, actually in the state of New York, serving her sentence. But over the last 34 years, she has earned her PhD in ministry. She has 3 master's degrees that she's earned behind bars. She's tutored fellow inmates, been ordained as a minister, and been part of the inmate liaison committee. And of course, now she is remorseful and believes that she has been completely rehabilitated. She said specifically, "I made excuses. I dismissed my own involvement and blamed everyone else but myself." That was the letter that she wrote to the governor. Because she wasn't there the night of the murders and didn't pull the trigger, she thought that she wasn't responsible. How many times have we heard that? And that she became comfortable in her warped logic, ladies and gentlemen. But now she understands that until you start accepting responsibility, she's not going anywhere. And she's also got now 30 letters of support, and she is asking to go home. Some of the letters state that she is the true definition of rehabilitated. She is improved as a refined human being. A member of the state assembly, a guy by the name of Edwards Gibbs, has written, the trial in media was a circus of one of America's first high-profile cases about a sexual affair between a school staff member and a student. That was Joyce Maynard, who wrote To Die For in 1992. Who's God? Every time I forget her name because I try to block it out. What is the name of the lady that shot her mom? Why can't I think of her name right now off the top of my head? In Missouri, just got out, and she won't go away.
Gypsy Rose?
Gypsy Rose.
She didn't shoot her mom, her boyfriend.
Her boyfriend shot her mom, right? And she only got like 10 years, right? And old Pamela Smart, she didn't do it, right? She didn't do it either. And she served 34 years and at least can probably write a complete sentence, unlike Gypsy Rose, who I'm not sure can. Who's done nothing to better herself other than try to get her 15 minutes of fame. So I don't know. Let me know. Should we start a CrimeTalk free Pamela Smart campaign? If it's good enough for Gypsy Rose, it's good enough for Pamela Smart. Right? I mean, when you start thinking about that logic, I mean, I'm sure we could dig deeper into Pamela Smart. I mean, maybe it wasn't just lust at 21 for a 15-year-old boy. Maybe she kind of said, "Oh, gee, if my husband wasn't around, we could be together." Huh. Who said that? Gypsy Rose, too, didn't she? "Oh, my mom was mean to me when I'm getting all my free rides to Disneyland." Yeah, Gypsy Rose. God, why can't I remember her name? I thought we were done with her for a while. But Gypsy Rose is the poster child. The standard has been set for early release when you conspire with somebody to kill your mother, even because she's done terrible things to you. I guess she abused her. Really? I mean, come on. It's not like the doctors all went along with it. I mean, I get it. She's abused. Okay, whatever. Pamela Smart probably was abused too. I mean, come on. What did Gypsy Rose do in custody to better herself other than try to make a few bucks with a documentary, do interviews, try to find a new husband? At least Pamela Smart. Has multiple master's degrees and a PhD. She clearly has done what she needs to do. Yeah, I mean, Flynn testified. Let's see here. The killer, William Flynn, and 3 other teens cooperated with prosecutors, and they've all since been released. Flynn testified that Smart told him she needed her husband killed because she feared she would lose everything if they divorced. Flynn said that Pamela Smart threatened to break up with him if he didn't kill Gregory Smart. I mean, I don't know. Gypsy Rose, Pamela Smart. Her boyfriend, Gypsy Rose's boyfriend, is still in prison for killing it. Pamela Smart, she didn't pull the trigger, just like Gypsy Rose. Why is she still there? This is what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We have disparity in sentencing. Pamela Smart, if she lived in today's day and age or that of Gypsy Rose, I'm not even sure she would be in prison. I think she'd probably be out right now, probably hosting like a Jerry Springer type show. Where is the justice, ladies and gentlemen? Now, hopefully you notice a little tongue in cheek, ladies and gentlemen, but you get the point. You get the point. How in some states, you get good deals, you get bad deals. Depends upon the prosecutor that's out to get you. I mean, the killer in this case, the Pamela Smart case, who killed Gregory Smart, 25 years. Served 25 years, and he was like a juvenile charged as an adult, and he did it when he was 15 years old. And then you get the Gypsy Rose of the world that says, oh, my mom made me do these terrible things, didn't send me to school, got some really cool stuff out of it, and she milked it. Her mom milked it, I should say. And obviously we wouldn't wish that upon anybody, but she, is a spokesperson for Munchausen by proxy. I guess she's a great spokesperson, but she did conspire with her then boyfriend to kill her mother. All right. Pamela Smart, accepting responsibility. The first step, ladies and gentlemen, to rehabilitation. Yep. And she is serving her sentence in New York. I see that in the thing. Pennsylvania. She's been doing New York. But yes, it was on TV back then. Back in the 90s, 1990s, this took place. 34 years she's been in custody. Isn't that enough, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, she was obviously very concerned at the time. Very, very concerned of the divorce. Thought she was going to lose everything. Really? How much could a 22-year-old school teacher possibly have in 1990 that she was so concerned that she was going to lose it in the divorce? Total manipulation. Kind of like Gypsy Rose. What can you do? What can you do, ladies and gentlemen? I don't know. Okay, another story I want to talk about before we go. And just a quick reminder, we are going to have our Patreon show shortly following this show. We usually go about an hour or so here. But, if you want to also, Frank has left me the controls. And for those who maybe joined us a little bit late, Frank, the man behind the scenes, the hardest working man in show business, did the most ungrateful thing you can possibly think about. He went on vacation with his family, for God's sakes. No, I'm just kidding. Frank never takes any time off, and he was good. But I don't have the editing skills that Frank does, but he has trained me on this system here. I've got the big board here. He brought in another board. I got the computers. I got the camera. I got the controls to the microphone. I got the lovely Miss Kristen sitting over here, refuses to be on camera, refuses to speak and comment. Really quickly, the lovely Miss Kristen, what do you think should happen to Pamela Smart? She had her 15-year-old boyfriend kill her husband back in 1990. 34 years, 3 decades in custody. Do you think she should get out? Do you think she has a PhD in religion, philosophy, 3 master's degrees, helps and tutors other people. Her true calling is a teacher versus Gypsy Rose, who's got invited to a couple of things. I don't think she's completed I think she got her GED, right? In custody. other than try to get notoriety and publicity and fame, what has she done? Maybe I should become Pamela Smart's PR agent, and we will start a grassroots effort. Free Pamela Smart. Free Pamela Smart. Don't do it for the 15-year-old boys everywhere out there. Just kidding. Don't do it for all the women having affairs with 15-year-old boys everywhere. I'm joking, ladies and gentlemen. I'm joking. All right. But that's the point. All right. One more thing. Guess what? FBI. That's right. The Federal Bureau of Investigations. Guess what? They are going to release a couple hundred pages of documents from the O.J. Simpson murder investigation. Roughly 500 pages back in the case in 1995, where obviously O.J. Simpson was acquitted of killing his ex-wife, Nicole Brown, and her friend, Ron Goldman. Apparently, the FBI looked very, very closely at those bloody Bruno Magali shoe prints found at the scene, the clothes, as well as the Ford Bronco and their hair samples. And like I said, so Wednesday, tomorrow is the 30th year since the double murder. And obviously, almost 30 years. Old OJ made it almost 30 years long. Remember, he died last month. Anyway, and rather than surrender, he agreed that he had agreed to through his attorneys. He instead led the low-speed chase in Southern California, riding in the Ford Bronco with then NFL retiree Al Cowling, his friend. Like I said, they went through great lengths to try and link the shoe print found at the scene to Mr. Simpson. It was his size. It came from a rare Italian brand that sold less than 300 of that particular shoe, 300 pairs across the entire country. At the trial, the FBI experts testified that the shoe treads that had actually traveled to two factories in Italy as part of their investigation. The FBI agents testified that they traveled to two factories in Italy as part of their investigation. Oh, that's tough duty. I must go to Italy to look at Italian leather shoes and see how they're made and look at shoe prints. Anyway, prosecutors were unable to convince the jury that the link between the print found at the scene and Mr. Simpson and the shoe worn at the crime scene were never found. Blame it on a criminologist, I guess, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe if they had made a second trip back there, who knows what would be the case today. Anyway, some of these documents, it's got a lot of lab testing stuff. It'll be interesting to go through it. Probably do that in my next spare time. It comes out to about 600 pages or so. A lot of it's not relevant. A couple of notes. They, taking very copious notes of the items that are being examined, things of that nature. But the biggest point of this is 30 years, ladies and gentlemen. 30 years. That was in 1995. And it was on TV. It was on radio. And you want to talk about a circus? It was one of the first circuses ever. Judge Ito, I think the presiding judge, thought that he was going to somehow be inducted into this great judge hall of fame. And the complete opposite took place. Because Judge Ito is basically still mocked to this day as being probably one of the worst judges ever. He lost complete and total control of that trial. It was supposed to go for a few weeks. It went 9 months. Unbelievable. And we're not even going to get into the verdict itself. But once again, the stuff just kept going. He would allow everything. He would allow speaking objections. Speaking objections, Judge Ito allowed more argument and conference. I think he would like the argument just so the TV cameras were in his courtroom. It's like, be a judge, make a decision, and move on. And if there's a conviction or an appeal, so be it. Do what you need to do. But they never do. All right. Oh, I forgot to put up. Frank even let me make a banner and I forgot to put it up. Gosh, where is it? Where is it? It was a new one. Is this it? Background? No, that's not it. Oh my gosh. I cannot believe. Wait, here it is. I got to hit the right button. Okay, here it is. I put this, I made this myself. CrimeTalk, the most fact-driven, unbiased true crime channel anywhere in the world. Made that myself. Anywhere in the world. I'm telling you, I'm going to get, Frank's going to have to worry about some job security here. I mean, if all I have to do is hit the button and start talking, this is going to be great. This is going to be great. Heck, if I could have, you know what? Since I have the lovely Miss Kristen here, I can ask her right now. Perhaps we could set one of these up in a home studio and I could just go live every night, say from like, I don't know, whenever you go to bed, like 10 o'clock. And I'll just go live and we'll talk about nothing. It'll be a show about nothing or a show about, whatever, whatever's interesting that particular day related to crime and true crime issues. Yeah, 6 days without Frank. 6 days. I mean, how am I going to do this? I've become a little dependent on Frank, but maybe with me going out here, expressing myself, expressing my individuality, getting to wear the headphones again. Okay, I know some people, why are you wearing headphones, Scott? It is amazing how much you notice how you speak when you wear headphones. I try not to say too many uhs and things like that, but when you actually hear it in your ear, it will stop you in a heartbeat. So just remember that. Let's see here. So anyway, I am venturing on my own and I am, Frank, you may want to come back. You may want to come back early because I may master this. I mean, I may set up a home studio. Maybe I'll just broadcast from there. I don't know. I don't think that's good environment. There's been some podcasters got, unfortunately, had some issues. That's why I think you got to go to the office. Here we have the lovely CrimeTalk studios. And besides, I got these cool brand new arms. We got arms here. The lovely Miss Kristen has her own brand new arm. She's going to be my sidekick. I just need to get her to actually say something and do it. Oh, she's bringing over Miss Winnie the Bulldog. Who wants to see Miss Winnie the Bulldog? All right, here we go. Oh, look at her. Oh, listen to Miss Winnie the Bulldog. Look at Miss Winnie the Bulldog. Isn't she the best dog ever? Hear her snorting in there. Can you hear that? I can hear it in there. Best bulldog ever. Miss Winnie the Bulldog. If you've been watching for a while, you know that Miss Winnie the Bulldog came to us and she would fit in our little palm of our hands. She was such a tiny little bulldog. Tiny little bulldog. And now look at her. She's all grown up. You need 2 arms and a, lift from the legs, not your back, or you're going to hurt yourself. Kind of big. I think she's up to like 65 pounds. 65 pounds. Miss Winnie the Bulldog. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see here. He is good. He's good in the ground. I'm good. I love seeing the old background. Thanks, Robbie. Robbie, is one of the toughest things you ever can do. Right? Do you want your background to kind of, express a couple little things about you, but you want to be hip and trendy, right? So everybody says, ooh, look at your hip and trendy thing. And then I thought, what am I doing? You just need to be you, Scott. You're at a certain age in your life. You've been practicing law for 30 years, doing criminal defense. You know what? This is you. If people don't like it, they don't have to look at it. They don't have to look at me. It's just that simple, right? So I hope you like it, but if not, it doesn't really matter because I do. So look, we got a couple of books over here. Look, we got my bronze of the cowboy. Then we got my United States Supreme Court certificate saying that I'm licensed to be in the United States Supreme Court. Then we got Lady Justice there. Ayn Rand right there. See, pointing right there. Got the art of the law over here. And then we got more stuff over here. Look, I got my, where's it go? I'm trying to move my hand there, but it's going this way. We got that, right? My little statue that I just love. And then if I go the other way there, I've got my Mameluke sword letter opener. For those who know, Mameluke sword. It's the sword that's issued to Marine Corps officers. And then, of course, we've got the YouTube plaque there for 100. Oh, baked in Colorado. You know, we started baked in Colorado for lovely Miss Winnie. Miss Winnie the Bulldog. Who would like to see? I gotta get the right thing here, right? Nah, we don't need to do a baked in Colorado. No, but you know what you should do? If we're going to sell something, go to CrimeTalkSearch.com. CrimeTalkSearch.com, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, we use this stuff all the time. Yes, we get a commission if you buy a subscription, but guess what? You can cancel at any time. And it is literally something that we use. We use it to start out. Hey, what's going on? I found emails. I found pages that people had to other social media sites by going through this site. You could not believe what you can find on other people in today's world of electronics, right? It's all searched for you in a matter of minutes. And if somebody's coming into your life that's new, go to crimetalksearch.com. How many stories have we done over the years where people have met somebody on an app and, you know, next thing you know, they get chopped up and put in somebody's basement. And if they just check the guy out, they would realize, oh my gosh, he is a sexually violent predator, been in and out of prison for numerous times, abuses women. But, you know, he had such a nice smile when I saw him on the app, and he seemed so nice on the phone, and that person never came back. Check them out. Now, obviously, you never know what some people are going to do, but the reality is you can check them out. Do the best you can. It's peace of mind, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody's coming into your life, check them out. That's what it comes down to. All right. We are just already over an hour. If you'd like to continue the conversation, we are going to go do our Patreon show. Please join us. And guess what? Frank has also taught me how to enter the code and be able to take calls as well. So we're going to do that on our Patreon show here in just a couple of minutes. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you being here. We know you could be doing other things. The fact that you just chose to join us is greatly appreciated, and we are thankful. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. And remember, yes, ladies and gentlemen, that pesky Constitution, it matters. Check it out. See you on Patreon in 5.